What's up, my brothers and my sisters from another mister? So today we're going to do a comic book review of TMNT, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, issue number 3. This is Michelangelo's epic journey continues. He faces his toughest foe yet, while Casey Marie Jones struggles to raise the new generation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. So we begin this issue with Michelangelo in Inner Mongolia, and the time is now. His eyes are blind and he can't see, and he has all these darts and tranquilizers in his face. So the story so far, what happened is, following the loss of his family, Michelangelo attempted to find peace by retreating to the mountains of Japan, and that peace was soon interrupted when the infamous warlord called the Death Worm tore through the countryside. Michelangelo fled somewhere where he met and trained with Master Yip, a long-lost member of the Hamato clan. With a renewed sense of purpose, Michelangelo left Yip's care to seek out Deathworm, whose warpath had progressed from Japan to Korea with no signs of stopping. Now, while the second generation of Ninja Turtles continues to learn and grow under the tutelage and care of April and Casey Marie, they still have a long way to go before they're prepared for the world that awaits them. Now, there's a story that April tells Yi after Yi cuts himself because he wants to, help April out, but without consulting April. So April can't get mad at Yi for hurting herself because, the ambition was there and the initiative was there. But April tells Yi to wait for her next time. So she tells him a story how that happened. And the story is about April helping out the Turtles and Casey Jones with the purple dragons. Now, normally when the Turtles and Casey Jones, usually go on a mission, they're obviously well experienced and well equipped to deal with all this. So April decides when she tells this story that I've seen some scuffles before, but what she really wanted to do, she really wanted to help out. So she started spying on the purple dragons herself. The problem was, even if her intentions are good, she needed more training. And she got herself into some serious trouble when someone from behind grabbed her foot. Now the Turtles are like, yeah, what happened next? And Yi's like, what happened next? Well, luckily, I wasn't alone. The guys in Casey Jones showed up and bailed me out to teach me a very important lesson. And that lesson was perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with trying to do things on your own, but it's easy to get ahead of yourself sometimes when you do, especially if you rush in blindly. Whenever possible, first get the help you need and always look before you leap. And Yi's like, okay, Grammy April, I will. I promise. Now, going back to Michelangelo's story, 2 years ago, that's when he lost his eyes in Inner Mongolia, and that was then, and he can't see. So Michelangelo asks himself, what's happening? Why is everything so dark? Oh, but we can see you, creature. And the guy's like, prepare the ropes. And Michelangelo's like, I remember thinking that voice. Who is it and what is it? Is it Leonardo? Is it Raphael? Is it his brothers? But no. It's off panel, he doesn't know who they are, and these voices tell him, do not struggle, we mean you no harm for now. But until we know who you are or what you are, we must proceed with caution. He gets decked in the back of the head with the end of a gun. He goes down for the count, and these people in Mongolia tie him up. And even though they told him, we mean you no harm as of right now until we know who you are, well, but they're gonna find out soon enough. So they put him in the back of the horse, in the back of the barrel, and they tell Michelangelo the Noyan awaits. And Michelangelo's like, Noyan? Yes, creature, Noyan. He's our leader. He will decide what to do with you. What to do with me? I mean, you guys are not going to hurt me, but you're bringing me all here, going through all this trouble. Michelangelo's blind. He doesn't know what's going on. So he began to fade into black when he was awake. He thought he was dreaming, or was he remembering? So now he remembers how he got here, and this is going back to issue number 2. It was the Korean bar in Town 38. He fought with some of Deathworm's thugs, and he won. And he learned where their boss was at, because the guy told him he was in Mongolia, so he needed to get there quick. And he needed to get out of Dodge and go after Deathworm. So he hijacked the car, because him and his brothers were taught how to do that, and he found a map in the glove compartment, and he got himself oriented and decided how to head northwest from Town 38, which route made the most sense. So going back to issue number 2, his brother's like, Michelangelo, I don't know how it's happening here, but you driving, we'll be lucky to get there. So the trip was no joyride. The further they pushed north, and the clearer it became that Koreans' reunification was a work in progress, and it's just a bad sight. The old regime might have fallen, but a shiny new reality sure didn't rise in its place. Scavengers at 3 o'clock in the morning were breaking down doors and taking off wheels and just scavenging for parts, and this is not a good look. So yeah, they weren't going to stop there to take any chances, and the only time Michelangelo stopped was to get something they really need, which was gas. So Raphael makes a remark, yo man, is it me? Or is this freaking snow weird looking, man? And the snow is weird looking, so they kept moving northwest, finally crossing the border in the former North Korea, and it was scary. China was horrifying. Every town was the same. And Michelangelo read about a 9.6 magnitude earthquake that struck near Beijing, and the reports made it sound really bad, but seeing it with his own eyes, he has no words. It was just too much to get in, too much to take in, and seeing all that chemical plant blowing all that smoke in the air, Michelangelo now sees why the snow's been odd. And he couldn't get to Mongolia fast enough, so they keep driving, and they finally get there. But instead of feeling relief, Michelangelo felt burning in his eyes, probably from being exposed to all that radiation in the air, which seeped into his eye pores. And Leonardo tells Michelangelo, yo man, grab the wheel, don't even go like that, you can't go down like that. So the car swerves, and in a split second, that's how long his eyes were closed. And the problem was, he wasn't able to open them. That was it, as the car collides head on into the tree and Michelangelo flies out the window. That moment was the moment he went blind. These people tell him, well, you're fortunate enough that we're going to take you to Noyan because he sees all, and perhaps he will help you if you are worthy. And Michelangelo's like, what the hell am I doing? So Noyan tells Batu, I guess his right-hand man, to enter into the room. Noya welcomes his visitor, Michelangelo, and he asks Michelangelo, what do you call yourself? So before Michelangelo can tell him his name, Noya is like, yo man, the man asked you a question because he's in the dark, he's blind, and Michelangelo's still trying to adapt to being blind right now. So Noyan asks him, what is it that you seek in our land, Michelangelo? I'm looking for someone. He's called Deathworm. He's a bad guy. I started to defeat him, and I chased him across 3 countries, and he's supposed to be in Mongolia, but somehow something's wrong and I can't see. I think I'm blind. Noya is like, it appears we have similar concerns. 2, one of them is Deathworm, and 2, yeah, you and me are blind, but even though he doesn't explicitly say it that way, he's like, yo man, please join me and I will explain to you everything. So blind Mikey found a tribe of Mongolian warriors in the middle of nowhere with a common enemy. And what were the odds? Well, that was near impossible. About as believable as a martial arts B-movie plot, as they say. So he gives him some tea. It's really warm and soothing, just like his host. And Michelangelo, even though he can't see it, he feels it. And he talks about his father, Master Splendor, always talked about how fate and destiny play a huge part in everyone's life. He even wrote about it in his journal. Michelangelo was thinking that maybe this is fate, destiny, or maybe just blind luck, and he chuckles at himself because Master Yip, who's known for his jokes and puns, he would have been proud of that joke and pun right there. So he tells him, my name is Noyan, which makes me the chief of both this Orda and Obug, which in English translates to camp and tribe. And you already became closely acquainted with my brave and loyal second, Batu. So please accept my apologies for him being harsh. He's just doing this for protection for you and for us and for me. And Michelangelo's like, yo man, no worries about it. I can't blame a guy for being too careful, right? So Noyan kind of has his moment, well, we've heard about the Emerald Beastman in green, and being that I can't see color, I want to feel you because you're uniquely formed. So being blind, he fills up Michelangelo, not in that kind of way, but just to kind of get a feel for the guy. You know what I mean. So Noyan tells Michelangelo, even without my eyes, I can see that you are a noble warrior inside of you, Michelangelo. So yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So before Michelangelo does any kind of training, Batu shows Michelangelo to his tent, and he has a helper, and her name is Jarell. So Michelangelo introduces himself to Jarell. Obviously they hit it off right off the spot, so Batu leaves and says your training will begin later. So they eat. And because they ate the first of many meals with this new helper, Jarell, and the other members of the tribe, even though they will all become like family to him eventually, it didn't start off that way because they just weren't that sure about Michelangelo because they never seen someone like him before. And even though he can't see at this point, he felt the tension in the air. So when Batu comes up and asks, may I join you guys? Lucky for Michelangelo, Batu wasn't only a loyal soldier to his chief, he was also highly respected by his entire tribe. So when the tribe saw Batu embracing Michelangelo and helping, then they too embraced Michelangelo and became helping. So when it went down to sleep, well, it was permanent darkness at that point, even though Michelangelo's blind. Everything went dark, but it wasn't totally alone because he went from leaving one family or going to bed and taking a break from one family to another, his brothers. And his brothers like, well, this isn't something you see every day. And how can you be blind? Like, this isn't funny. So Donatello's like, maybe it's that prolonged exposure to radiation that got you blind. Yeah, you know, that's what it is. So Mike's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Good thing for him, his new friends knew exactly what to do. Little Gerald helped Michelangelo return to, kind of like normalcy. So she gives him some muscle memory. She has him wash dishes. And even though he can't see, it establishes a sense of touch, enhancing his senses. And Gerald tells Michelangelo, yeah, your plate is as clean as a whistle. Batu helped Michelangelo find strength with his uniform, with his Emerald Warrior look. So when Noya and Michelangelo sit across a fire, he asks Michelangelo, how does this look? Is it a fire? I don't know, I can't see it. Well, then how do you know it's a fire? Well, I guess by the smell, the sound, and the heat. And so Noya asks him, so what would happen if you were to touch that fire? I get burned. So Noya's like, if you remember its aroma, its sultry voice, and its dangerous caress, do you not also remember its brilliant face? Yes I do, says Michelangelo. Good! I mean, there's some things that never changes. So Noyan tells you, yes, even when our eyes fail us, the things we've seen do not change. What must change, however, is how we see them with failing eyes. Our senses are like a kingdom, Michelangelo. When they are divided, we fall. But when they are united in harmony, the entire world reveals itself. So Batu charges at Michelangelo with this sword, and Michelangelo's able to defend against it. So Noya is like, not an easy task deflecting a strike from brave Batu. Tell us how you're able to do so, Michelangelo. And Mikey says, well, I heard his boots scrape over the pebbles. I felt the air change when he swung, and smelled his breakfast from today coming from his mouth when he shouted. And Gerald thought it was funny. So month by month, his senses, and he's adapting to being blind. Everything started becoming clearer to him. He's riding horses, building tents, establishing himself as a contributing member to the clan. But sadly, like his other family, this new one had the same old problem, an unrelenting enemy. So Batu asked Michelangelo, what did Noyan tell you about Deathworm? So Michelangelo tells him he just said Deathworm was an old enemy of the tribe and that a lot of blood has been lost since fighting these thugs. And Batu said, yes, our tribe was much bigger once upon a time. We were greater in numbers, but we maintained a traditional way. But Deathworm broke that peace and our numbers has since diminished. So Gerald, her mother, and her father, your helper, were killed by Deathworm's minions. He claims to be a descendant from Genghis Khan, wielding full military authority and using it as wherever and whenever he pleases. And Mikey's like, yo, is that true? He's related to Genghis Khan? True or not, he believes it. And he persuaded an army of people, an army of thugs to believe it as well. So they move back and forth across the continents, reaping destruction like the Mongol hordes of old. But that's not to say we haven't inflicted damage on the enemy over the years, but we may be peaceful, but we're not toothless. And he shows them what kind of teeth he's talking about. We seize these weapons as proof of our fallen enemies. And Michelangelo's like, man, usually my brother Ralph would say guns are just babies' weapons, but he picks up these new weapons, and Mikey's like, I like to give these new weapons a try. Forget the pistols, I'm looking at these guns right here, so to speak. So from the moment Mikey held them in his hand, it was meant to be. And Mikey goes into more training with all these bottles and displays. So Gerald's like, why you cover your eyes with cloth? I guess it just feels more natural. Is it fate? Is it destiny? More blind luck? Nah, whatever it was a powerful new weapon that Michelangelo added to his arsenal. And thanks to Deathworm, he's ready to use it. So for nearly 2 years, he's been using his ears, nose, mouth, and fingers to see as second nature to him, but constantly relying on so much stimuli to function, and it can get overwhelming. So sometimes he just needed a little bit of sight. He just went to the water just to kind of take a break from one family, but underwater he was talking to another family, his brothers. During this dialogue, while they're talking about Michelangelo's new weapons and with the electromagnetic pulse and the capabilities with it, they hear gunfire, bullets, freaking bullets, and in one silent moment the peace was broken. Gerald got shot. Michelangelo emerges from the water. These thugs, Deathworm thugs, cock their gun back. Michelangelo hears it, smells the gunpowder, ducks out of dodge, cracks him down. He tastes the blood. He gets bloody with it, brutal, and just takes him down one by one. So he feels all the additional gunfire and the bullets being cocked back, or the guns being cocked back, and he knows he's surrounded. And everything went blindly bright. He just got tased, and they tased the heck out of him. After being tased, he goes down for the count, and he feels Gerald being next to him, but she's not alive and breathing and healthy like he's used to. And that is the end of this issue of TMNT, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, issue number 3. So much pain, so much loss. With every new adaptation, with every new conquering goal, and every new adaptability with Michelangelo, it's just a new trial, a new tribulation, and just so much trauma this guy went through. I'm definitely in on this series, and I'm loving the story so far. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Also, link in description if you wish to add this comic book, other comics, or some of our Rated Comics exclusives to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Lastly, this review is sponsored by coffee, so if you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee, link in description, or donate to the super thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to RatedComics YouTube channel. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.